cutting boards. So the nice thing about these is they're not just meant to be used, they're also meant to stand out. This is what I mean by they're going to stand out. The cutting boards are going to have a chamfered edge at 45 degrees, which is perfect for handles. And it also makes it look like it's floating, which is kind of cool. Anyways, let's start at the beginning. This is cherry, maple, and walnut. These are rough sawn, but you can also purchase them surfaced on 4 sides, either at a lumber store or a big box store. But in my case, I have all the machines to surface all 4 sides, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But if you're like, oh my god, this is so easy because you have all these fancy tools, they're not that fancy, and I bought most of them secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. They just need a little tuning, but hey, you get what you get. Now in my case, I have to make sure that these are surfaced on at least those 2 sides because I'm going to run it through my planer and my table saw. Now, once I have all my pieces flat on 3 sides, then I'm going to square up the 4th side, which is through my table saw. These are approximately 2 5/8 thick, 1 5/8 thick, because I want it to be 1.5 inches thick. Now, in the past, my glue ups have been a little crazy, so I did make some calls using scrap wood and packing tape, just so it doesn't get stuck. Speaking of glue and getting stuck, I've always used Type Bond 3 for cutting boards. I'm not saying it's the best one, but it is the one that is waterproof, and it is food contact safe. And let's not forget our list, because I'm making a bunch, and I don't want to make the wrong sizes or colors. Anyway. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing them up. And if you like what you're watching and like my descriptions and stuff, feel free to like and comment below. But don't do it out of pity, only do it if I earned it, because pity likes are like kind of crazy. Anyway, one tip I'll give you for glue ups is make sure that you actually put glue on everything that needs to be glued and not on things that don't need to be glued. Sounds kind of silly to say, but I've had it where I've accidentally glued my cutting boards together, and I've also had it where I didn't put enough glue, and glue is pretty cheap, but remaking a cutting board is expensive, especially if you give it to someone and it splits. I mean, you know what I mean? It just kind of shows poor craftsmanship. So lather that puppy up in glue. Anyway, speaking of glue, if you put a lot of pressure, you're removing a lot of that glue away from there. So what I've learned to do also is put enough pressure, but not like crazy tight where they start to bow. Even if I am using clamps, I just want to make sure I have even squeeze out pretty much everywhere, and I'm getting squeezed out at the bottom as well. So then I'll wipe off the excess so I don't have to spend a lot of time with the chisel later, because again, I'm trying to make this as quick as I can. And in this case, because I have a bunch to glue up, I am using the cauls like I mentioned earlier. And you don't have to use cauls if you put enough clamps on the top and on the bottom. You should not get any bowing, but anyways, I set them to the side, let them cure for 24 hours, and then I started working on my next set. Now in my case, my jointer is only 6 inches and these are 8 inches wide. So I just went ahead and sent them right through my planer because, you know, what else am I going to do? But I'm going to show you a trick that I use to make sure my boards are perfectly flat a little later in the video, in case you're wondering about that. Then I'm going to go ahead and make my cutting boards to their final length. Some of them are 10 by 11, others are 8 by 12, others are 18 by 12. So anyway, then I forgot to put this part in the video, but I routed a round over and it looked horrible. So I ended up removing that anyway. So I added the chamfered edge, which gave me the idea, and here we are. So with that being said, you don't have to add the chamfered edge, but I like to add it because it gives you a place for you to be able to pick up your cutting board. Anywho, going back to my chamfered edge here, once I find a good place, I'm going to run it through the table saw on both sides. That way it looks nice and even and all the corners come out nice and even. because there's nothing worse than a wonky corner. You can see it from a mile away. So once I found the perfect place, I made sure I did some testing, rigorous testing for the edges. Once I liked it, that's the criteria I use for all the other ones. Let's go start talking about sanding. So I usually start with 80 grit, then I go to 120. If I'm feeling motivated, I'll hit 150, then I'll hit 220. And if I'm really feeling motivated, I'll do 320. But I usually don't for cutting boards because that glass top finish, it's gonna be removed as soon as they hit a knife. So anyway, I grab some coffee, I sharpen my pencil, I listen to some music or podcast or whatever, because it's gonna take forever to sand everything. So I go ahead and make some pencil marks on both sides of my cutting board. I then use my random orbital sander. So it's a really slow process, but it's what needs to be done. I generally don't brand until the end, but I'm doing a little bit of a test here with this one. So either way, that's what I did. But yes, sanding does take forever, and yes, it does suck. Everyone hates it. Let's just move along, okay? All right, once I hit everything with 80, what I'm actually gonna do is I made my own little jig here to make sure everything's flat. So I scribble my cutting board at the bottom, and then I run it lengthwise with the grain and look to see if there's any areas where the sandpaper removes the pencil marks first. If it does, it means that that's where it's bowed, cupped, warped, twisted, whatever. So then I go address that. Now, if you don't have a router and don't have a way of adding roundovers, you could just use your random orbital sander or hand sanding. But either way, after each grit, make sure that you go ahead and wipe it down. Now what I'm doing right now is water popping the grain, where you spray your boards with water on all the sides, and then you let it sit somewhere where it gets airflow on all the areas. The reason I do that, and the reason most people do that, is because if not, you get these nice little grains that pop up the first time you wash your cutting board. And if that happens, although there's nothing wrong with it, it's gonna feel fuzzy and crappy. So once that's done, then I go ahead and sand with the grain, just 3 to 4 light passes. As far as finishing goes, I use organic beeswax and food safe beeswax and food safe mineral oil. Now I make my own mix, but you don't have to. You could use something like this Howard's Butcher Block conditioner, which already has the mineral oil and natural waxes. So that's what I used to use when I first started out, and now I kind of make my own because it's more economic. Anyway, then I go ahead and put my cutting board in a tub, and then I just fill it with mineral oil. And I'll do the same with all my cutting boards. Some people leave them in there for 24 hours. I usually leave them there for maybe an hour tops because I make batches and I don't have that many containers. But sometimes though, instead of doing that, I'll just go ahead and make my pre-mix using 4 parts mineral oil and 1 part beeswax. And then I just lather it because the wood will absorb all the mineral oil and it will leave behind the wax, which that kind of helps protect it. Anyway, once that's done, I go ahead and take out all my cutting boards and I leave them in a little drying rack. Again, I made this myself, so there's nothing fancy about it, just some dowels and a piece of pine. But once that's done, then your product itself is done. Now, I'm gonna add this in here because I'm hoping one day I can look back on this and remember all the fun stuff I did with my kid. But that's why I do woodworking anyway. But that's the fun thing about cutting boards is you can involve your kids, especially at the end, where they can rub in some mineral oil because it's food safe and everything like that. You know, it's not like varnish or anything. And just have fun because that's what woodworking is about. So if I missed anything or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down in the comment section.